Good morning, kindergarten. Welcome to Reader's Workshop. I am loving hearing all the stories that you're sharing on Seesaw about being an avid reader. I am also loving, some of you have even sent pictures of the comfy, cozy reading spot you've created. They look amazing. Remember, if you're still enjoying the spot you created, you can keep that, but if you get tired of it or get bored of it, you can create a new spot. Don't forget to clean your other one up first. But create a spot where you're comfortable and you're cozy and you can just enjoy some time with just you and your books. Today, I wanted to continue talking about being an avid reader. Okay. Today, I wanted to talk about how avid readers sometimes reflect and set goals for themselves. And we are going to talk about how we use our reading superpowers that we've learned about this year to help us reflect and set those goals. So I wanted to start with just kind of going over and reminding ourselves what those superpowers are. So let's look at that together. So our reading superpowers, let's start right here. Our pointer power, that we're remembering to touch the words as we read them, so we make sure that our mouth is matching the word that my eyes see in the book, and I'm only reading the words that are on the page. Reread power. Sometimes I read something and it doesn't sound just right, and if I go back and I reread it, then sometimes I can fix it or catch what was the problem. So sometimes that reread power helps me. Partner power. Sometimes by reading with a partner, and at home that could be brother or sister or mom or dad. Reading together and helping each other could be a way to help you solve words that are tricky. Also, picture power. This is one that we rely on a lot by looking at the picture and looking for clues of, what could that word be? What do I see in the picture that could help me figure out what this tricky word is? Over on the other side, snap word power. This is when I see words from the word wall that I know them in a snap, and I don't let those words become tricky words. Sound power. I use the knowledge I have of the sounds that letters make, and I can use that knowledge to help me figure out that tricky word. Also, this one is my favorite, persistence power. It just means that I keep trying. I don't give up. I might try 2 or 3 of these superpowers before I solve the tricky word, but that's okay. Just don't give up and keep trying. This one is book talk power. By just talking about the books after you read them. On Seesaw, you've been sharing a retell of books that you're reading. You could also describe the characters or the setting or even the problem or the solution, but just talking about that book kind of helps you to understand what you're reading about even better. And the last one here is pattern power. We've noticed that lots of the books that we read have a pattern that help us not to get stuck or tricked on some of those words. So look for those patterns. So now that we have reviewed what our superpowers are, just in case you forgot, I want to talk to you today about how it's important for you to know which of those powers you've mastered and which of them you notice, I use this one sometimes, or you might even notice some that I hardly use at all. So it's important for you to know as a reader which of those powers, where they fall. Okay, so we're going to kind of use that to help us today. But right now I wanted to use a book to help model for you kind of what it looks like to use those superpowers to help. So I chose Wake Up, Dad. So as I start reading, Kate is up. Nick is up. James is up. So right off the bat, I'm noticing 3 superpowers that help me. Number 1, I used pointer power to make sure that I touched each of the words as I read them. Number 2, I know you like to see the picture, so I'll show you that. But number 2, I noticed that I see some word wall words like is and up. And so I use my snap word power to make sure that those words I know in a snap and I don't get tricked on a word wall. Okay, so practicing those word wall words every day is going to help you not to make those words become tricky words. I also noticed that this page has a pattern. I notice it says, Kate is up. Nick is up. James is up. So I noticed that pattern helps me to know, I know what the next sentence is going to say. So I use that pattern power to help me. As I keep reading, Dad is, and if I'm reading this page, I might come to this word and I might be like, that's a tricky word. I don't know what it is. So I'm going to think about which of my superpowers might help me. And one that I go to naturally is the picture power. And I'm going to look at my picture and I'm going to think, what could this say? Dad is, and I'm thinking I could say Dad is sleeping. But if I also think about my sound power, I notice that this word starts with the letter A, but sleeping starts with an S. So I think, it couldn't be that. So I'm thinking about what could make sense, maybe another word for sleeping, and maybe I might go, oh, I wonder if it says Dad is asleep. So I'm going to think about and not just go, oh yeah, the picture he's sleeping, the word must be sleeping. I have to kind of check lots of things to make sure that I am reading the words as the author wrote them on the page. Okay, so as I continued reading this book, I could continue using superpowers and kind of naming the superpower that is helpful to me. But today I'm going to kind of give you something to do before you go off to read. If you look in the planner today, we have linked a copy of this Super Reader's chart. I want you to take just a minute before you start reading today, and I want you to kind of go through the superpowers, and I want you to give it a thumbs up if you're like, oh yeah, I think I use that power all the time. I'm really good at it. If you think, I use it sometimes, you can kind of give it a thumb in the middle. And then if it's one you're like, oh man, I don't think I hardly ever use that superpower, you could give it a thumbs down. It's okay if there's some that you identify as powers that you don't use very much. It's good for you as a reader to know that and know that, maybe if some of the ones I'm really good at aren't working, I could try some of those I don't use very much and see if they help me. So after you have gone through your chart and done your thumbs up, thumbs in the middle, or thumbs down to your powers, then I want you to keep that chart handy. And as you're reading today, if you come to a tricky word, remember before you ask for help and say, what's this word? Go through those powers and see if you can solve that tricky word all on your own. If you've tried several superpowers and you're feeling stuck, maybe you could ask for some help to try some of those superpowers together. So I hope you're still using those powers and enjoying them as you become an avid reader, and keep sharing those pictures and stories about how you're enjoying your reading time even from home. Have a great day. Bye.